Hold on to it. There you go. Good, you did good. Pull it, there you go. All right, now slap that thing on the side of it. There you go.
Okay, so y'all just saw what we were talking about. We're talking about gun laws, gun control, guns, period. Let me say I work with a bunch of Full Metal Jackets over here.
We all about to shoot.
They're all about the shooting. So I did go to the gun range, Victoria. So we're gonna talk about that was my first experience at a gun range.
Pop that cherry!
Shooting a gun like that. That was a bit much. So
how did you feel about it? Hold on, first of all, she was nervous.
I was scared.
You was about to leave?
I was scared. Well, no, when he pulled up, I've been sitting there so long, so I was going to get something to drink because I was parched.
Oh.
I was nervous. My anxiety was over the roof.
So you had never shot a gun before, ever?
Ever. Like, I sat in my pop-out lap while he shot a gun, and I was like, I got to hold a piece of the gun. That was like shooting, but not really.
Would you do it again?
I would do it again for experience now. As far as like shooting, it's pulling that trigger was the hardest thing. Like, do I do it? It's a trigger.
Right.
Do you think you could do it if you had to in a life and death situation?
I think I could. My fear that I was, because when I was shooting like the 9, it was a big gap between shots. Like, it would take me a while to get up the courage to actually pull the trigger on that little gun.
So you better aim right the first time.
Right.
It's gonna take you some time.
Yeah, because it did, and it's just too much. The power on those little guns, like doing this, I was still like, Tori was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, Terminator. And he was like, I think he got jammed or something, but he picked the gun up. I'm like, this is a real life shooter.
He's a real life shooter.
And then so we walked into the little area where the little lane, I guess is what you call it, where you start shooting. So there's other people in there too, shooting their guns, and it was like somebody, and I think it was a white man in there with his little girl, and I'm like, we never think about that kind of stuff in Iowa, not the girls, and so they were shooting a cannon. So every time it went off, I was trying to get together. You're from the east side, but I was so scared to hear the gun. Like, headphones, they didn't do enough. I thought I was gonna not hear nothing. Period.
I think she brings up a good point with the little girl and all the fear that she had shooting the gun. We have to start teaching people to shoot way earlier.
Right.
The first time we shoot shouldn't be when we're 30, 40 years old. It should be early, like the little girl. Man, I know people.
She had to be like 8 or 9 years old.
Man, I know people that got their first. I talked to a guy that I work with that gave his son his first gun on his 10th birthday. He said he got his first gun on his 10th birthday.
Right.
This is also a man that has about 500 to 600 guns in his possession.
Right.
And so I say that to say, man, there's people that's growing up, being trained to be prepared, to be ready in case they need to use a gun.
Right.
And the whole point is like, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
So we had this conversation because my dad is like a huge gun lover, and he takes my little brother. But growing up, I never went to the gun range. I think the first time I really shot a gun was when I was in the Navy, because we used to be out on the flight day. And I was talking to my daughters about that because I was showing the video of you shooting. And my dad was like, "Have you shot a gun?" He's like, "Yeah, he was in the military." But my friend just came down from Ohio. Dude was like, "Yo, hop in the whip with me." He's like, "Okay, cool." Well, now just drive with me, and popped the trunk and had hella guns. And he's a hunter. So I'm like, bro, why do we got we just got an AR just because, a couple ARs, just because?
Just because. And I'm thinking, he's like, well, man, if a war or something goes down, I'd rather be in a position where I can protect my family versus being in a position where I can't do anything at all, while I'm powerless.
When I was loading one of the guns, the bullets, he said, just put them all in there. I have more. I'm like, I bet you ready for the zombie apocalypse? I don't think like if it's a war, like if the zombies come, we blowing heads off. Like,
so, Mac, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
So based on that, so training kids up in the way that we think they should be, do you think that is a type of conditioning that we want them to have compared to growing up like she mentioned on the east side, where hearing gunshots is a common thing? I think as you start to grow, you want to give your children something
I ain't
different.
said that.
No, you kind of hinted to it by saying you're from the east side.
I'm from the east side, so I shouldn't.
You shouldn't be as terrified, right?
I shouldn't be as terrified, but I mean, I didn't grow up around gunshots.
She's saying she's from the east side. She's supposed to be tough. Is that what you're saying?
I'm supposed to be tough, and I'm not supposed to be in the. Literally, like I'm so angry. Like my anxiety there just had me like it was bad. Like I was.
It's out of your element.
It was
because it's not common that you like see automatic guns like every single day.
This is a 9mm that I started out with. It was still too much. It's just the fact that I've never been in the gun range. If somebody's over here shooting next to me, they have guns. I thought I was gonna be by myself. I probably felt a little safer. Like in my mind, I'm probably paranoid. I'm like, what if this motherfucker loses his mind and just start shooting everybody? And I'm like, that's my thought process.
We got guns too.
Right.
This is my attitude. Like, to answer your question, what do I feel about the attitudes on guns? I feel like they're out there now.
Right.
Once they're out there, they're not coming back. So since they're out there, you need to get one. I would love to live in a world where it was no guns. But if it's one, I want one too.
Right.
That's just how I look at it. Like, if we're in a world where we can take guns away. Let's just say if it was a world where everything was about your hands, then I'm gonna lift weights and get as big as I can to get my hands right. Like, I'm not gonna be walking around out here being a victim, hoping that the world goes right, hoping that people are good. And because of that, because there's guns out there, like I hear the gun debate all the time, and I hear people talking about we need to legislate guns and we need to do all that. But what I feel like happens is, when I was in the streets a lot, nobody had registered guns, but everybody had guns. So when you start saying, okay, we're gonna make guns illegal or do whatever, people who are about guns are gonna have them.
Right.
So I say, if anybody's gonna have one, I want one.
So what do you think about the permitless carry? So what are your thoughts about the new permitless carry law?
Now, me being at the gun range today is, to me, I mean, I'm a believer in that we have our rights to bear arms. My mama kept a little gun, a little revolver. I call it the old gun. She kept that gun. She always had it. First time I seen my mama pull, she took this woman's chicken in churches on 23rd, Kentucky. The little kid.
Your mama pulled her gun at the chicken shack? Tell the story, please. Please tell the story.
This woman was liking on my daddy. And so it's that cash checking place used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I remember.
My mama took that one, pulled out her pistol out, and took that woman's chicken. It was only a 2-piece, so my sister Donna could eat. So, but it was the.
She jacked that woman for liking her husband. She said, "Oh, you looking at my husband? Break yourself on the chicken. You ain't finna feed that for this." Your mama is real.
I always know my mama. My mama was like, we had a little situation with a fella in the family, like a boyfriend or something. He tripping, right? First thing we knew, like we were like, oh, we all over here, we beating up over here. My mom would show up, get out the car, gun in hand, in her moo with her pocketbook, and she'd be like, what a head, like that was.
So how is this young lady that was raised in this environment so fearful of weapons? I don't even understand.
I grew up like in New Lima, like I always spent summers down there, but I have never actually pulled the trigger. It's not that I'm scared of the gun, I can see it, but putting it in my hand on offense and pull this trigger, that was the scary part. Like,
well, at least you put enough thought into it.
I can understand.
But that's what makes me feel like there should not be no where you can get a gun without where you can get a gun period without some kind of training, because to me I'm terrified. He was the little things that Tori was telling me, like at the gun range, if I have a question, don't turn around. Don't just turn your head.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh, what you doing? Where the dog at?"
I never thought about that in the gun range. There's little laws and the little things he was telling me like that. I would have never. It would have never clicked. So
and anyway, you can't even really think clearly anyway. If it's a new environment, fight or flight is going on, you're nervous, anxiety setting, you're not even thinking clearly anyway.
He was and I will say this. Troy was an amazing instructor as far as telling me how to hold the gun, and he was making me do it myself. Like he made me load the chamber. That's what you call right. That's what the sleeve, the thingy. Okay.
Keep going.
And so he made me put the bullets in the thingamajiggy.
And so
much
better.
And he
much
made me do the
How you put it in there again? Well, y'all gotta understand it's been a minute.
She told everything sexual. She ain't had sex since February. She said, let me load this gun. Is all the bullets in here? Yeah.
No. I was trying to do like because the clip was shaped like this. And so I said I had to put the bullets. This is in a bigger gun. So I had to like push.
See now, she a little horny, so let me load this gun.
So he gave me all the instructions, like as far as how to load, how to he was teaching me how to pull the, what's it called? Cock it. Slide. And then like I had to slide and I had to hit the gun, but I wasn't hitting it hard because I was scared. So I was like,
Y'all gonna see the video. Yeah. What I think about this permitless carry is, what I've experienced is guns give some people more confidence than they should have. Guns also make people not walk away from a situation that they might normally walk away from.
True.
Like,
that's a good thought.
Like when I carry my gun all the time, everywhere, if I pulled up in a situation I see could be a situation, I would look, I'd be like, okay, this might be an issue. Let me just grab my gun. I'm not avoiding the issue. I'm just gonna grab my gun just in case the issue escalates, I have something. Take the gun away, you might just say, man, I see a potential issue. Let me avoid the issue all the way. But having a gun, I feel like, makes people not think as much, gives people a lot more courage. That's a bunch of cowards that'll pull over like road raging and whatever. A dude who know good and well, like you say, man, pull over. And I know good and well when we pull over on this side is how I'm gonna beat your ass. But you know that too. So you say, come on, pull over too, and your whole mindset is, as soon as he jump out, if he put his hands on me, I'ma shoot him.
Straight up.
And that's the difference. A lot of stuff. But if that same person who we got into our altercation, and I say, man, pull over in the park lot, he gonna keep going because he know I'm gonna beat his ass. But instead, or vice versa, say me, say some big old dude, and I really be like, I don't want problems with him, but I got my burner, let's pull over and see. And that's how I feel like
I think that's part of it.
Things can escalate.
And I think it's another way that we're kind of perceived in society as far as value goes. Because a lot of times, the way people look at us, especially if you big, you black, you walking with authority, people feel threatened just by looking at you. So I think in a situation like that, it kind of puts us in a different type of climate.
We have to look at, because we are right now in Oklahoma, you can have a gun. I can go buy a gun. I'm of age. I ain't got to register. I don't have to have any training or anything like that. Okay, so that's our law. So we have this person that's now so into this law, what's Harper, whatever his name is, he's a Second Amendment auditor that is walking around with this AR-15 on him. Like, it wasn't just the hood. It wasn't what he called the hood. He came to the east side of Oklahoma, which is predominantly black.
Right.
And he was, recording. He's like, this is ghetto. I'm thinking somebody's going to steal my car. And all this other stuff. And so he's saying this is his right to have this gun. Fine. But it's not your right to intimidate. That's not what the law is for.
Right.
For intimidation purposes. So you're at places where black people go, and shout out to the coons that was for it.
Right.
Then you go to Bobo's and they treat you like a king. I ain't saying, that's their preference if they want to give you a discount on chicken because you're walking around with a damn rifle on your chest.
I'm for it. I guess I'm one of the coons, because I'm going to speak up.
Well, no, they didn't say anything. They was like, yeah, way to go. Good for you. I'm like, no, not good for you. Because
let me tell you why.
Side of town, why did you go to Nichols Hills and do it?
He was in other places. Hold on.
He was in places
Hold on.
poverty stricken.
Well, allow me to give a different perspective. The dude been doing this since April. I watched a video of him way long time ago in Kansas with a whole nother group of dudes. They've been doing this. They are not even worried about y'all. They fucking with the police. This is my problem.
Right.
Hold on. This is my opinion. My opinion, when you say come and try to intimidate black people, my problem is, why the hell do we gotta be so scary?
Right.
Just because this dude got a gun, first of all,
and I ain't even
him with an AR, my personal opinion, when I first saw him, dude, you can't even get to that AR fast as if I really decided I wanted to get that dude, that AR wouldn't save him across his chest. If I just walk up, you gotta make a decision. you can't physically whoop me.
Right.
So you gotta decide if you going for that gun or you protecting yourself. If you really, now if he got it drawn, you got a problem. But I say all that to say, the dude don't make me nervous when I see him. I think we need to change our mentality.
Right.
Instead of saying, why is he walking around on the east side with guns? Dude, you got the same right too. Go get it. And I know people gonna say, we as black people get treated differently.
That's not even what I'm gonna say.
Oh, well, I'm not you then. Not you. I've heard this argument.
I don't know, man. I think he was doing it to prove a point.
It wasn't about us.
I don't think it was about us. I think it was like you guys have decided to implement this law. Now let's see what it looks like and what it feels like, and let's bring some awareness to what's going on.
They did the same thing in the park in Edmond in April. They recorded it. Police came out. He was trying to prove that the police didn't know how to tell what gun they were looking at. He had a modified rifle that really qualified as a handgun because he changed the stock. What he was out trying to do, what I saw, was trying to test and see if, after the law is passed, if he can really do it. Because whether you like it or not, he does have the right to do it. So what I hear people saying is, he did because he went somewhere where he didn't have the right to do it. But where he was at, if you feel bad, if you really felt nervous about him being on the east side, go get your gun and stand next to him.
That's not
but
the
quit
point.
crying about
That's
it.
not the point. That's not the point. Okay, so
Tell me your
he's a
point.
Second Amendment auditor.
Correct. Right.
Okay, so this is my thing. I go to Sam's, and if you go to Sam's on Sunday morning, 85% of the men are in there with their guns in their holsters.
Really?
Handguns. It's, that type of thing. So here you are coming to places where you went to the chapel, the temple of the Hebrew Israelites.
Right.
They have the protection.
Right.
Yeah, so they have this protection.
He also went to Twin Peaks.
Okay, so that's why he went to jail. But I'm saying, but you are going here now. This is you're questioning them because one had got pulled over a few days before, and you're trying to, you're questioning them about why they have this sovereign, what is it called, sovereign nation thing. Right. That's not none of your business. That's not, you're on their private property.
True.
That's you to leave.
Right.
So, respect that they have the right to practice whatever religion.
They do have the right, and he has.
He don't have the right to come to their.
He did have the right.
But the crazy thing about
private property. No.
He had the right.
Yeah.
This is where they had the right. See, this is where I.
But they wasn't afraid. They wasn't moved at all. Like they was still handling normal business. This is
my beef with everybody complaining. You're saying, however this man was, we can do the same thing.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, get your gun.
I don't have a problem with people having guns. Like I said, you see people with guns all the time. You can go to Sam's. I'm telling you, Sam's on Saturday morning. Them old fellas is in there with.
And if they make you nervous,
that
get
doesn't
yours.
make me nervous. But somebody walking around with
I was basically saying this. Listen, you
that's
go over
what
there.
makes me
If that's
nervous.
how you feel, stay over there where you at with that. Don't come around where we at.
Well, it's not even that. But so if he would have had a modified handgun. And did the same thing. That's different than walking around a neighborhood.
Right.
Talking about, I'm scared my car might get stolen. I'm in the ghetto. I'm in the hood. Well, don't come over here with that.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You
All that I agree with, but that don't have nothing to do with the gun.
I do agree.